Before we start today's video, we want to point out that there will be much less SmackDown coverage than usual, as the show was taped last week. You can click the link in the description for the earlier video to find out all the details from this week's edition of the Blue Brand, and with that out of the way, here is today's news. We are kicking off today with WWE as the company's main roster just got smaller, as 3 superstars who had been with the company for years were cut from the promotion. Fightful Select is reporting that Baron Corbin, Tegan Nox, and Indi Hartwell will all be departing the company, with Corbin being informed that his contract wouldn't be renewed. Nox and Hartwell will become free agents in 90 days' time, and this report has since been confirmed by the Pro Wrestling Insider. On Twitter, Corbin confirmed the news, saying, "It's all she wrote for him," and told fans, "It's been real, and I appreciate everyone who's supported me." Corbin's contract with WWE is expected to run until the end of this year, and Fightful adds that independent bookers are already racing to get dates from the former King of the Ring. Corbin was reportedly uninspired by his recent partnership with Apollo Crews despite their friendship, and did not see their team topping his career-reviving run with Braun Breaker. Since his return to the main roster, Corbin has mainly appeared backstage and has worked dark matches in recent months, and even had a Netflix shoot on October 20th. It's unknown whether Corbin will be seen on WWE programming again before his contract expires, but on Twitter, former NWA star Tyrus said he has some other doors to show him. As part of her release, Tegan Nox is subject to a 90-day non-compete, meaning she'll be eligible for booking and opportunities outside WWE in February 2025, along with Indi Hartwell. Nox has been absent from WWE television for over 6 months and hasn't been booked for dark matches or live events recently, and there hasn't been any extended creative plans for her. Outside of the occasional SmackDown appearance, it'd be easy to forget that Nox even returned to the company in 2022, and now she'll once again have to make her name elsewhere. Indi Hartwell's departure was the most unexpected, especially as she has a pre-taped match last week that aired during this week's episode of SmackDown. As we reported in last week's coverage of this week's SmackDown, Hartwell teamed with Candice LeRae in a losing effort to Bayley and Naomi. Some staff and talent reportedly noted that Hartwell had gained momentum through recent social media skits, and she was informed of her release before news broke online. It's likely that Hartwell, who's Australian, and Nox, who's Welsh, will need to address visa matters to continue working in the US after talent were informed of cuts on November 1st. Thankfully, internal sources report that this is the extent of this round of releases, and these exits come after a series of notable names parted with WWE this year. Becky Lynch, Ricochet, Bobby Lashley, and more have bid WWE farewell in 2024, and now fans can add Corbin, Hartwell, and Nox to that list. Ever since Endeavor acquired WWE and merged it with UFC, the wrestling promotion has been going through quite the transformation, with new talent being signed along the way. WWE NXT only recently acquired Julia, Stephanie Vecchia, and Zarya, and Wade Keller reports that WWE's plan is to continue recruiting reputed names from the indies and other promotions. He also indicated that a few more wrestlers will be fired in the near future, but stopped short of saying exactly when that'll be, or which superstars could soon be holding the pink slip. How do you think the exit of Corbin, Nox, and Hartwell will affect WWE? Should they have booked Corbin in a better way? Let us know in the comments. At Crown Jewel, Roman Reigns and the Usos will face the Bloodline in tag team action, and ever since the match was announced, fans wondered which Bloodline members would compete. Given that there's 4 members in the group, 1 member was going to be kept out of the match, and on SmackDown, Michael Cole shared that it'll be Tonga Loa. Cole said that Loa will be lurking nearby while Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa compete, meaning Reigns and the Usos will have to keep an eye out for interference. Are you excited about this match? Will Loa be able to make the difference outside of the ring in Riyadh? Give your predictions for this match in the comments. Later this month, WWE will host Survivor Series War Games from Vancouver, British Columbia, but one of WWE's top names may miss this huge event. On Twitter, Cody Rhodes shared his appearances for November, and while Rhodes will be kept busy this month, Survivor Series on November 30th isn't listed on his schedule. At this time, no matches have been announced for Survivor Series, and do you think Cody will miss the PLE? Let us know down below. At WWE Crown Jewel, Cody Rhodes will face Gunther to determine the first men's Crown Jewel champion, but Rhodes has a lot more to be concerned about than the Austrian. On SmackDown, Rhodes was in a backstage segment with Randy Orton, and once again, it was teased that Orton could turn on Cody to try and become a 15-time WWE World Champion. The segment in question saw the pair backstage talking about their main event match with Imperium, But when Cody was looking away, Orton eyed the title hanging on a drawer. Cody has already been betrayed by Kevin Owens, and could Orton be next to turn on him? And if so, will it come today at Crown Jewel? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now, 2024 has been a mixed year for Rhea Ripley, who started off strong as Women's World Champion, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. On this week's NXT, Ripley was attacked by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez in the infamously dangerous parking lot, and it's since been confirmed that she's out of action. This assault was incorporated into the story to give a reason for Ripley's absence, which stemmed from her suffering a right orbital socket fracture during an episode of Raw. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that if not for this injury, Ripley would have faced Raquel Rodriguez at Crown Jewel to continue her feud with Liv Morgan. Beating down the champion's bodyguard is certainly one way to guarantee another match with Liv at a future PLE, but Ripley's second major injury of 2024 forced WWE to scrap those plans. As a replacement, WWE has booked the four-way women's tag title match that'll see Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair face Metaphor, Damage Control, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. This is a huge setback for Ripley, who missed months after getting injured in April, and we're wishing her a full and speedy recovery. It was on the post-Bad Blood Raw that CM Punk shared that he'd be taking a break to recover from the brutal Hell in a Cell match he had with Drew McIntyre. That hiatus has kept Punk from Crown Jewel, a show he was never booked for given his issues with WWE's Saudi deal, but now we know more about plans for his return. Fightful Select reports that fans shouldn't expect Punk back until the November 11th edition of Raw at the very earliest, unless he makes a surprise appearance on SmackDown. That's because the November 4th Raw will be aired in Saudi Arabia, and fans shouldn't forget that Punk has shown interest in pursuing the World Heavyweight title upon his return. But what do you hope to see for Punk once he's back? Will he and Gunther face off for the gold, or will WWE have something else in mind for Punk first? Let us know in the comments. Last week, Samantha Irvin shared publicly that she had parted ways with WWE and later revealed that she had given her notice to the company regarding her departure back in August. With that said, some fans questioned her claim as she never got a proper send-off, in stark contrast to Kayla Braxton, who was given an emotional send-off in MSG earlier this year. When Mike Johnson of PW Insider was asked about this, sources told him that Irvin didn't give such an early notice, and it's been reported that she informed WWE a week before her last day. After informing WWE, she kept her departure to herself before announcing it on social media, where Irvin has also shared some strong words about her experience as a ring announcer. According to Brian Alvarez in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, many people in WWE respected Irvin's decision to leave, but have been unhappy with her social media posts. Since she was no longer with the company, they couldn't force her to remove them, and it's added that several factors contributed to her departure from WWE. Scheduling conflicts and wanting to be with her family more were both key matters, and Irvin has said that she felt that her desire to be a manager or GM in WWE was never going to happen. Nonetheless, we'll have to see how Samantha Irvin will fare as a musician, as that is another goal of hers. And do you think she could have handled her WWE exit better? Sound off below. On SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton got involved in a segment with Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, in which she teased cashing in her Money in the Bank contract at Crown Jewel. After a brawl, Stratton took on Liv in a match that the Women's World Champion won, but things went from bad to worse for Miss Money in the Bank after the contest. In the post-match chaos, Liv hit Tiffany with the briefcase, and in a backstage segment shortly after, fans noticed that Tiffany was sporting a cut to her forehead. This cut may only further endear Stratton to fans due to her toughness, and while she's a heel, fans have rallied behind Stratton since she came to the main roster. During an interview with the New York Post Sports, Stratton spoke about possibly turning face in WWE and thinks there won't be a massive change to her character if it happens. She said, I think naturally my character will just kind of turn babyface because the crowd kind of has been slowly kind of turning me babyface, but I don't think I'm going to change anything just because, why would you change something that's working? Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too much to change. I think I'm just going to be the same Tiffany Stratton, maybe just a little nicer to my coworkers. An exciting cash-in on either Jax or Morgan today could go a long way into making that face turn happen, even if it won't drastically change the character of the popular star. With the briefcase and a rumored WrestleMania match with Charlotte Flair, the future looks bright for Tiffany Stratton, and will that future see her turn face? Time will tell. Next year, John Cena will end his legendary career in the ring, and fans have been speculating as to what the WWE Icon's farewell tour will look like. One idea that keeps coming up is the idea of a 17th world title reign, which would put Cena one above Ric Flair, as the pair are currently tied at 16. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's reported that there have been serious discussions about Cena challenging one of the champions to go for this win, possibly at WrestleMania 41. At this time, such a match would put Cena against either Gunther or Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and either match would certainly be worthy of a main event spot. Do you want to see John Cena become a world champion at WrestleMania 41 next year? Let us know in the comments section below. Now next month will mark 1 year since Kenny Omega last competed, as his battle with diverticulitis has forced the AEW EVP to put all his in-ring plans on hold. This week though, fans got a positive update, as the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Omega has been talking about a return to the ring as if it's definitely happening soon. The current plan is to arrange a 5th match with Kazuchika Okada, which will be tough because of the high expectations from their past matches. Omega is set to appear for New Japan at Power Struggle on November 4th, and the fact that he is able to make such a trip certainly suggests that his recovery is coming along well. Are you looking forward to Kenny Omega's eventual feud with Kazuchika Okada upon his in-ring return? Sound off in the comments section below. On this week's AEW Dynamite, the Young Bucks lost the tag titles to Private Party, and it was reported shortly after that Nick Jackson has been dealing with a separated shoulder. After their loss on the Fright Night Dynamite, the Bucks were spotted packing up their locker room and leaving the arena, signaling they were taking a break from the company. They told Christopher Daniels that AEW felt too chaotic and they'd be working from home to regroup, and it was later confirmed that the brothers are going on a hiatus. In an update, Brian Alvarez reports that the reason for the Young Bucks hiatus from AEW is that they want to avoid getting involved with the Blackpool Combat Club storyline. With that said, they're expected to return as fan favorites, stepping in to save AEW, and the plan is for them to be back in time for the AEW and NJPW Wrestle Dynasty show on January 5th. We'll have to wait and see how the Young Bucks will be integrated into AEW's long-term storytelling, as the Bucks and the BCC have a lot of history with each other on AEW TV. Nonetheless, fans are eagerly anticipating the Bucks' triumphant return whenever it happens, as they are preparing to bring the fight to Jon Moxley and his allies. Are you looking forward to the Young Bucks' return to AEW television? Sound off in the comments section below. In 2023, Cameron Grimes joined the SmackDown roster to a promising start with a victory over Baron Corbin, but his momentum faded as the year went on. As appearances became less frequent, Grimes soon found himself taking quick losses at a time which coincided with Vince McMahon's return to WWE. McMahon forced his way back to assist with the company's sale to Endeavor, which Grimes feels was more than just a coincidence. Speaking to Denise Salcido, Grimes recalled McMahon often changing scripts, which led to his appearances being cut, and felt that McMahon's decisions worked against NXT talent. This limited time on screen, and even when McMahon stepped back and Triple H took charge again, Grimes struggled to get TV time on the road to WrestleMania 39. Grimes said that with the 2-hour SmackDown focusing on the big stories en route to the event, it meant he couldn't get regular TV time, seriously harming his career in WWE. Grimes was released from WWE in April of this year, and do you think he deserved better in WWE? Let us know in the comments section below. Since 2018, WWE has hosted premium live events in Saudi Arabia, but soon enough, WWE NXT could be hosting events in the Middle Eastern Kingdom. That's according to Triple H, who at the Crown Jewel kickoff event asked fans if they wanted to see NXT in Saudi Arabia, and said he'd speak to Shawn Michaels about the idea. One name some fans are expecting to see at Crown Jewel is Goldberg, who has been rumored for a match with Gunther ever since their interaction at Bad Blood. As we previously reported, Goldberg is not expected to appear at today's show, but that didn't stop fans chanting his name at the Crown Jewel kickoff event. Fans chanted for Goldberg when Gunther's name was mentioned, and in response, Triple H said that, "Sorry, Gunther went out." Whether Gunther and Goldberg face off, that remains to be seen, but fans in Riyadh would certainly love to see these two face off in the near future. At the inaugural AEW Double or Nothing event in May 2019, Marco Stunt made his AEW debut and would remain with the company until 2022, though made a one-off return this year. Now fans may have seen the last of Marco Stunt in the ring, as in a lengthy statement this week, Stunt shared that he has made the difficult decision to retire from wrestling. Stunt said that after consulting with his doctor, he was advised to prioritize his long-term health and step away from the ring, and shared his gratitude to AEW for giving him a chance. Stunt also thanked Brett Lauderdale and GCW for helping launch his career, the wrestlers he's worked with, and the fans who have supported him in his career that began back in 2015. At 28 years old, Stunt has his life ahead of him as he prepares to navigate what's next, and what do you think of his retirement? Post your thoughts and favorite memories of Stunt below. Now, Jon Moxley is the top man in AEW right now, with his Blackpool Combat Club allies giving him backup, but it's a much different name who has also supported him for years. In a recent interview with Authority magazine, Moxley spoke of his marriage to Renee Paquette and gave a somber take on what his life would have been like if they'd never met. He said, "I've been fortunate enough to learn from a diverse array of the best minds in the business. I've had so many amazing teachers, and since I'm of the mind that we have 2 ears but only one mouth, think it's wise to listen more than you talk. However, if I had to give out an MVP trophy for the profound difference maker in my life, it would unquestionably go to my wife, Renee Paquette, hands down. I might very well be dead had our paths never crossed. I was lucky enough to meet her right as I was starting to realize some material success, so that was a bit of a crossroads where I could have easily veered down a more destructive path. Now I had something actually valuable. I had this person. As it was, I still almost destroyed my entire life, so thankfully she's been here to be the linchpin holding the whole damn thing together." The couple married at their home in April 2017 and welcomed their daughter Nora into the world 4 years later. And what do you make of Moxley's comments? Let us know below. And we're ending with TNA, and at the post-Bound for Glory tapings of Impact, Chris Bay suffered a serious injury in a tag team match which resulted in the ABC member being stretchered away in a neck brace. Bay was taken to a hospital in Detroit where he had neck surgery, and while a GoFundMe has been set up to help him, that doesn't mean TNA isn't doing their part. On his Extreme Life podcast, Matt Hardy, who was a part of the match in which Bay got injured, shared that TNA is taking care of the expenses involved with Bay's injury. Matt also brought up the GoFundMe, which has also raised over $85,000 for the TNA star, and praised the amazing wrestling community for being so selfless and helping out. In addition to this fundraiser and TNA covering expenses, a PWT shirt will see all proceeds donated to him, and TNA will be hosting a fundraiser at the tapings on November 8th and 9th. Once again, the wrestling community has come together for a worthy cause, and we're continuing to wish Chris Bay a full and speedy recovery at this time.